Okay, hi and welcome to reading number 6 of the book Orgasmic Blueprint, Tools for Pleasure, Desire and Consent for Individuals, Couples and Intimacy Professional. And today is a shorter reading because the reading after today is a longer reading about the 3-minute game. And now I kind of prepare from what we have done before, from waking up the hands, direct and indirect route, into how is it related to giving and receiving, and going gradually into the 3-minute game where everything is starting to get fun and happening. So the play part. Okay, let's begin. Receiving what you really want and giving what are you willing to. Every gift requires 2 freedoms, the givers and the receivers. That's a quote from Peter Kraft. Receiving and giving are major themes within somatic consent, and many common quotes are something along the lines of, you can only truly receive if you can give. However, if you most definitely notice while reading, all my research points to the opposite. Without learning how to fully receive, you never learn how to truly give without an agenda. But what does that actually mean? Being able to fully receive means we acknowledge our needs, accepting, respecting and caring for ourselves, and it's what self-love is all about. Receiving is one of the most natural things we do. It's how the somatic nervous system is functioning. We receive information from the environment that we come into contact with. The inflow of information perceived by sensory nerves in your skin enables you to feel and experience the world. When we receive the nourishment we need, we feel grounded in self, whole, and able to simply and authentically be who we are. This is the true essence of experiencing yourself as a gift. Rather than being selfish, it's the vital step in being able to give unconditionally. This means being able to give and let the gift go, allowing the other to do with the gift as they please, while being free of any attachment or sense of you own me or you owe me. We often say, I want to give you, and mostly assume that the person we are with also wants to have that. We presume that giving is for them, when in reality we are the ones who wants something. The hands are connected to the heart and they are symbolic for giving and receiving. Waking up your hands is the easiest and most profound way of developing your ability to receive so that you can truly give from a place of love and care. Wanting to and willing to. Before we look at receiving and giving in more detail, let's look at want and willing to is. These are very important to differentiate between. Want to is something you want for your own reason because it brings you a benefit. It might or might not have something to do with other persons, so them. So the pleasers and helpers amongst us might say, I want to do nice things for other people, but truthfully ask yourself, what is it that you're receiving in return? Maybe it's seeing the other's face light up or feeling the excitement build before giving them a surprise present and feeling appreciated in return. Maybe whatever you want to do for the other will also make your life easier in some way. In most cases, whenever we want something, we want to receive something. If you want to, it's about receiving for you. Willing to is something you wouldn't choose for yourself. Nevertheless, you're willing to do something or allow something to be done to you because you're about caring about them, so the others. It's something they want that brings them some kind of benefits. So if you're willing to, it's about giving a gift and it's for them. There's a whole spectrum between want to and willing to, a whole array of subtle differences between feeling a hell yes, I want that, and what you may be okay about doing, so willing to. We'll explore how to tune into your boundaries and spectrum of limits soon. For now, let's look at the difference between what we want to receive and what are we willing to give. When the difference is fuzzy, it gets much harder to ask for and receive what you want, as well as maintain your boundaries. We often end up going along with things we only feel lukewarm about or would really prefer not to do. This then, of course, leads to misunderstanding and resentments, as much better solution is to discern what you want and don't want, which you learned by tuning into your sensory inflow and becoming more embodied and centered in yourself. And be able to ask for what you want and be able to receive it, say what you don't want, and set limits. With practice, it becomes easy to know the difference between want to and willing to. With this knowledge clearly in place, we really understand what our desires actually are and can ask for them. When we receive what we ask for, we focus on just that. Not on doing or giving back, but receiving in the moment. Receiving is inherently vulnerable. When you receive fully, you can come into connection with feelings of deep gratitude and totally unconcerned to any sense of duty, guilt, payback, or reciprocity. That was the word, unconnected to any sense of duty, guilt, payback, or reciprocity. When we believe we own somebody something for their gifts, we tend to focus on perpetually giving back without relaxing into the pure form of receiving. It is in fully receiving that we learn how to fully be. When we can fully be, we know how to fully give. We fully give when we don't need anything back in return. And this happens when we come from an unconditional, altruistic place of love and care, which we'll talk about in much more depth very soon. So here's a little map that doesn't need much explanation, but I would like to do a distinction between giving and receiving. In receiving, you need to do two things. You put your desire first, so what do you want? And you take care of the other person's limit, so what are they willing to? And you stay in connection with your desire, even if you don't get it. Giving, take care of your limits, so what are you willing to do? And put your desire aside, so what do they want? Receiving and giving can be confusing if we focus on the action. Can I ask you to reflect for a few moments on the words receiving and giving? What comes to mind? Did you find yourself thinking of receiving as something that happens to you? Did you find yourself connecting giving to being in action? Now experiment by leaving aside who is doing the action. Imagine yourself in a scenario where receiving is for you and giving is for them. Does it feel different? Let's break down each word to see why it's getting confusing if we focus on the action instead of who is it for. How we usually perceive receiving. When you receive, it can be something that comes your way and happens to you. You can think of all the things you have received in your life. Present, appreciation, an electricity bill, an insult, an email, a smile, a dinner invite, a telephone call, a hug, a suggestion, a slap, your salary, an award, a report, good news, bad news. All these things come towards you or happen to you. They are for you, but aren't all necessarily what you want, right? Does that sound right? They are happening to you whether you want them or not. The other type of receiving, when you ask another person for permission to go into action towards them for yourself. You create a whole new dynamic. Let's say you want to stroke someone's hair. You ask, they say yes, and you go into action. So you are the one in action, and it's happening to you. No, it isn't happening to you. Nothing is coming towards you, but you are receiving what you want, which means it's for you. So you do what you want. And how we usually perceive giving. When you give, it can mean you are going into action, doing something for another, or presenting something to someone, whether the other person wants it or not. Have you ever done something to someone as a gift that they didn't seem to excite about? Sometimes we give because we feel good. In this case, ask yourself who the gift is actually for. The other type of giving. You can also give a gift by allowing someone to do something to you. You are willing to allow them to go into action towards you, to do something they want to do. An example could be if you give someone permission to feel your arm, if that's what they express they want to do. You give a gift by giving permission, which allows the other access to your body. In this case, you are not the only one in action, or you are not the one in action. They are. It's for them, but you are the one giving the gift of access. No matter which direction the action is in, the gift is either for you, they are giving it to you and you are receiving it, or it's a gift for them. You are giving it to them and they're receiving it. So don't worry if those concepts sound confusing or complicated right now. Giving and receiving in relation to touch are not clear for most people who haven't neurologically embodied the two separately. Through playing the 3-minute game in the next section, they'll become very clear and second nature, especially once you learn how to truly receive for yourself through awareness of the somatic inflow, so the feeling of your skin. For now, just note that when I use the word receive and give, it's not about who is doing the action, it's about who the action is for. In the following chapter, we are going to look very closely at who the gift is for. By doing this, you'll experience both receiving and giving fully and have a lot of fun in the process. You play. So when you play with the dynamics of who the gift is for, your old ways of relating will be challenged while new ways of experiencing pleasure will nourish and bring exciting change to your relationships. The practice will uncover different elements of yourself as you voice your needs and desires. By expressing what you want, you make yourself vulnerable. And in doing just that, deeper understanding, intimacy, and connection are free to flow. A student of the Somatic Consent Engagement System shared her experience of a touch exchange exercise. When it was my turn to receive, this is what she said, his action for me, I sat and closed my eyes. The guy in action began touching me so gently on my arm and hand that I began to cry. He continued to stroke my face slowly, gently, wiping the tears away, and it was the first time I'd be touched with presence without feeling the pressure of an agenda. It was quite a realization for me. I remember feeling a lot of grief for past wanted opportunities when I could have the experience this kind of touch and instead of settled for less. So let's take a closer look at understanding who the gift in an agreement is for. This will enable you to expertly clarify your pulls and pushes and give you the tools to make conscious choices towards or away from them. Okay, so this is building up to the 3-minute game. What I will cover in the reading tomorrow is a bigger chapter or a bigger part in the next chapter, and that's very exciting because playing the 3-minute game is one of my favorite things to do because there's so much possible. So the 3-minute game from Harry Feddes is where this foreword of the book is written from, and he is the creator of the 3-minute game, and I'm very excited about sharing that in the next reading. Have a beautiful day. I hope you enjoy the spring. I'm here in Sweden, Stockholm, and the weather has just been changing. So my soul, my being is lightening up through the temperature and the sunshine. And I hope you have a similar experience, that you can feel with your whole body the change of that season, or you are already in the change of that season. Anyway, have a beautiful day. Thanks for listening, and looking forward to seeing you in the next reading. Take care. Bye.